Franklin? Something's not right.
Why? That's not right.
The screen just shrunk. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, it's his doing, not yours.
Can you hear me, Robbie?
Yeah, I can hear you, Franklin. Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Let me see if I can open this up a little bit more.
Yeah, you're just in a little square right now.
Huh,
There you go. You got full screen now.
sounds good. You can hear me now?
Oh yeah, good and clear.
Sounds good. How you been?
I've been good. I've been working on my, I've been applied for a commercial operator's radio license now. So
So are you gonna run your radio station 24/7?
probably 24/7. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We're gonna have to get some advertising for the swap meet and for the club, and have you run advertising for us.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll have Ken Seymour do some advertising too for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he likes to do it for us. Right now, he's down in California doing some work and stuff down there. So said he'd be back in a couple of weeks.
How
Yeah,
is
I
it
got the-
expensive? Is it expensive to get a station?
No, I already have the station. It's all built and everything. And it's-
No, I mean, but you got to buy the frequency.
No, I just tell them which frequency I want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you pick one already?
Yeah, I got one now. I'm on 640.
Oh, really low on the dial, huh?
Yeah, I have to stay down low. Yeah.
So is it a low volume? It's a what they call low. What do they call it? Low
Yeah, low power station.
low power
Probably
station. Yeah.
Probably running maybe 1 to 5 watts or something like that.
Oh, really? And that's FM, right?
No, I'm on AM.
Oh, you're gonna be on AM. Sweet. That's even better.
Yeah, I can go farther on AM. Yeah. So, but I've applied for my license from the FCC, and they sent me a form, and I filled it all out, and I got a hold of this guy over in Milwaukee. That's a tester. He's been a tester for a long time. I had no idea who he was until Don over in Banks. He told me, this guy, he lived in Milwaukee. So I went over. He only answers by email. So I found out his address. And so I went over to his house and knocked on his door, and he says, "So you're the one that sent the email?" And I says, "Yeah." Yeah. So I was waiting for his, respond to back, let me know if I could come over or not. But I went over anyway, and he let me in, and I told him who I was and the club I belonged to. And he says, "Oh yeah, I know about your club." So I says, "Well, why don't you come to our shows sometime?" He said he probably will. But so he gave me this big book. It's probably got 500 pages in it. And I have to memorize all the questions on this. There's 800 questions in this,
Oh,
in the pool, but there's only 100 questions on the test. So I'm halfway through the book right now. And most of the stuff is pretty familiar, from what I've had before. So,
oh, good. That's good. Are you good at taking tests?
yeah, and at the end of the month, I think I'll be ready to take the test. So,
Oh, that sounds good. Wow.
yeah. But there's all kinds of different questions, and there's questions on about ships, operating radios on ships, on land, and in airplanes, on radar stuff. There's the book's just full of all this, every kind of electronic stuff that's come out in the last 5-6 years. So it's some of it's kind of new, some of it's kind of old, but I'm going through it, and the formulas are kind of throwing me off a little bit for figuring things out, but I've got a I got one of those college calculators that figures everything out. So I'm just moving right along, and halfway through the book. So I spend maybe 2 hours a day studying it, and that's about it. My brain goes whackle sometimes after 2 hours. It's telling me, okay, stop now. Let's give me a break. So yeah, it's been real interesting. This is a real nice, it's a softback book, but it's got all kinds of the latest information on all kinds of technology and transmitting and engineering and everything you can think of. It's all involved in this book. So, but I'm going to go for it. And at the end of the month, like I said, I'm going to try my license, and I think I'll do pretty good. You have to get 75% to pass. So there's some tests I took that you have to get 100%.
Oh yeah.
Those are pretty pretty hard to do, but I got through it all. So that's what I've been doing, plus all the other stuff around the place, cleaning up the yard in the front. And I got mold problems right now. And they're since I've been putting this mold killer fertilizer on my lawn, the moles don't come up in my grass. They come up alongside the flower beds.
Oh no.
Yeah, so my
I thought
lawn
you
is
said
mine.
moles.
It's just my flower beds look like just moles all over the place, all around the house and everything. So I used to my neighbor across behind me used to have a cat that come over and during mole season because I don't know, the cat seemed to know that the moles were around, but he brought 6 moles in front of my back patio door one day.
I said, here, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, but the neighbors moved away, and so the cat moved away too. And I said, oh, bummer. There goes my cat mole catcher.
You're gonna have to get a mole catcher, huh?
Yeah, there is another cat down the street that wanders through my backyard once in a while.
Yeah, you gotta start feeding him so he'll come over and he'll catch some moles for you.
I'm gonna throw a bowl of cat food out there and see if he'll hang around.
Yeah, exactly. I had a dog that used to catch them all the time. He'd catch all kinds of stuff and just, leave it in piles right in the back door. He caught everything. He caught everything because we have a bird flyby behind our house, so we get lots of animals. But yeah, he used to catch moles and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, this cat was really good. You could tell that he was on the prowl because he would kind of scoot down in the grass, and all of a sudden up come this little mole of dirt, and he'd reach down in there and grab that sucker and just yank it right out of the ground.
That's what my dog did too, and he'd throw it up in the air, and then he'd wait for it to come down and catch it again. I let it bounce off the ground and grab it again, and then grab it by the neck and throw it up in the air. He did that with rats, and we had shrews and nutria, all kinds of stuff. Even squirrels. The squirrels used to run from one tree to the fence, and when they get up on top of the fence, they tease the dog, right? With the they do that. Like I got away from you, and next thing I know, there's dead squirrels.
That'll teach him.
Yeah, the dogs are pretty quick.
Oh, he was a great dog and patient too. They need to be real patient. He would just sit there by the mole hole and wait, and I just let him go and just walk away. And next thing I know, there's a dead mole.
Yeah.
Lost him about a couple years ago. He was a good dog. He even killed a coyote once. He had a coyote jump in the back, and he grabbed the coyote by the neck and killed the coyote. And it took him a while to kill it because he grabbed onto it, and she's screaming. She's howling, calling her buddies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I called the trapper because she was not quite dead, but by the time the trapper got here, she was dead, and he took the pelt. So he said, "Hey, at least I don't have to dig a hole and bury it because it's all mangy looking."
Yeah. My cat was
Nice. Another.
kind of a crazy guy. The one from the neighbor, he would sit in these bushes. I got some of these kind of tall bushes along my fence line. And he would sit right at the level of the top of the fence. And every time a squirrel would come by, he'd jump out and grab the squirrel. And boy, I never heard a squirrel squeal so loud as those squirrels did. Yeah, so next thing you know, all the squirrels in the neighborhood were chattering at him. Just make that.
Oh yeah, they do that little chat. Yeah,
Yeah, and after that, I had hardly any squirrels at all come around again.
they're pretty smart. They figure out, let's stay away from there, huh?
Yeah, because the way I had some bird feeders sitting on poles with a little rope hanging down. Those squirrels would climb up that pole, cross the rope, and go in there and start eating on my bird feeders. Well, when that cat saw that, he says, "Well, this is enough of this." And so the cat climbed up the pole, grabbed the squirrel, and around and around and around they went. But after that was there were no more squirrels. And so
So
Well,
Hi,
Robbie,
Larry. I see Larry's on there.
yeah, I made it.
Good to see you, Larry.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, good to see you, Larry.
Say hi to Gary too. I see Gary from Seattle's on.
Hi.
And then there's Mark. Warren, how you doing, Warren?
It's fine.
Are
Doing
you
a little
okay? I heard
recovery
you.
work,
Oh, hi, Warren.
Good to see you, Warren.
recovering from hip surgery.
Yeah, I heard you had a hip surgery. How's it going?
Oh, fine. I'm up and going like crazy.
That's good.
well,
Oh,
hello,
hi, Mark.
Mark.
Oh, hello. Hi, Robbie.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
How's Idaho?
It's warmer today. We finally had a day over 50 today.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's great.
It's been a while. It's been cold here for a few weeks, I'd say. Can't dig in the ground yet, though. I was trying to put an antenna pole up today and I can't dig a hole yet.
Oh, wow.
Still, ground still frozen?
Yeah, the ground's frozen from about 6 inches to about 1.5 feet.
Ah,
Wow.
the frozen tundra.
Yeah, and today we had it was a beautiful day today, but we had about 40-mile-an-hour wind come through.
Holy cow.
Down out off the Oahes. There must be a storm coming on shore in Oregon or something.
We just had a storm come through here a while ago. So that's
Yeah.
probably the one.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Couple, 3 days and it gets here.
You call that a storm?
I don't know. Here it was.
Much of
Here it was.
anything.
What I'm discovering is this part of Idaho is kind of like the edge of the flat earth. If we go east from here, we're in Malheur County, right? Oregon. And it's like, there is nothing in Malheur County. It's amazing how empty it is. Just high plains and high desert.
Are you south of Boise?
We're southwest of Boise, yeah. We're in Oahe County along the Snake River.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's beautiful. I have to say it's beautiful. It's beautiful here. It's not green like Oregon though. I definitely miss the green vegetation and the water too. We get very little rain here or snow, at least this year. It's been
Yeah,
pretty dry.
That northeast corner of Oregon is very green and pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to move up that way. We'll see. Let's
It's
say
funny.
we're pretty isolated here. When we moved here, I didn't think it was going to be this isolated, but we're a ways out from Caldwell and Nampa.
How long did it take to get to the Interstate 84?
I don't know. If Caldwell's 15 miles away, so we can get to I-84 in about 15, 20 minutes,
That's not isolated.
which isn't too bad. But, and then to go shopping at the grocery stores, like in Meridian or West Boise, takes about 45 minutes to get there. Costco is about 50 minutes.
It's funny how that green, you don't notice it until it's gone. And then it's like, wow, where's all the green? When I was in Tokyo, it was like that. I was like, man, everything is gray. There's no green. There's no grass anywhere.
It's like San Diego. You come up here and everything is green.
Yeah. And the things are that we don't know what grows here yet. You know, I mean, we're used to growing in Oregon garden and Beaverton where we can pretty much plant anything we want and nothing will kill it except the cabbage moths, you know. But here, I have no idea what we can grow here with the wind and but we do have irrigation. You know, we have irrigation from the Waukee Reservoir on our property. We have a 6-inch pipe and we have water rights. So we'll see what we can grow here. It'll be interesting.
I have to come over this summer and show you how to grow stuff.
Yeah, sure. Well, the immediate, this place we bought was neglected. I'll just use that word. And the people who lived here mowed well, they didn't have a lawn. They just mowed the weeds with a rototiller for 10 years. So the tumbleweed and the goat heads and, you know, the noxious weeds were just turned into the soil 3 or 4 times a summer. And so what we have is a perfect seed bed for weeds. And last fall we scraped off, I don't know, truck after truck of down to about 4 inches of topsoil. We took it all off and just scraped the 1.5 acres off to dirt. And in about, I don't know, a couple of weeks, once we get the ground up to about 45 degrees, we'll be seeding it out with grass and pasture. You know, pollinator coneflowers and native meadow type mix for around here, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, keep away from all those invasive species. Stick to the native stuff.
Yeah, well, the invasive species are everywhere here. This particular area we're in on this bluff was up until about 20 years ago producing an apple orchard. So actually there's wild apple trees all over the place. But you know, the soil has just been neglected, and it's you know, it's all invasive species. There are some county programs, and I'll talk to the county agent about it, and we're actually going to submit a grant here shortly to be involved with that program with the University of Idaho. So we'll see how that goes. There's things to do about that.
Yeah, get some of their botanists out there. You might have some old apples that have died out everywhere else, and you're preserving them.
It's possible. It's possible. These orchard trees, my guess is these orchard trees are 30 or 40 years old. And they too have been neglected. They're way too tall. I have a arborist coming out in, I think, two weeks, and he's going to deck them off and prune them for this year, and we'll see what we get. We have apple trees and plum trees and pear trees and peach trees. We have a nice little orchard of about 20 trees. So we'll see what we get from that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I haven't even unpacked half my radio stuff yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to each other one of these days once you get your towers and stuff all up and everything.
Well, I have 2 of the poles up for a north-south dipole right now. My east-west dipole works great for you know, California, northern Idaho, and up into Canada. And mostly with the noontime net that we check into, I do fine. I just don't get into Portland very well. I can get into Longview though. I talked to Mike and Ava today in Longview, so I do get over that way, but I just haven't been able to get to Robbie's house.
Well, we'll just have to build you a taller tower.
You know, my neighbor wouldn't mind. I don't, we have an HOA about stuff like that, but our HOA is kind of like,
An
you can do
HOA.
anything you want until I don't like it, and then I'm gonna tell you about it. And everybody out here is pretty responsible for what they want to do, I mean, there's a couple of people around who have older junk cars and things that their kids kind of left behind as they grow up, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's a pretty nice neighborhood. Our neighborhood is about 90 acres. Average lot size is 2 to 4 acres. So we're all separated quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's not like your HOA in a new subdivision or something.
I got me a new project going now. I applied for my commercial operator's license. And can you see this?
Oh, cool. You're going to do the GROL?
Yeah. I got this from a guy here in Milwaukee. I found out from one of the guys in our club where this guy lives in Milwaukee. So I went over there and he says, yeah, I'll give you the test. Here's the book and bring it back when you're done. So I'm halfway through the book now. And so I'm thinking about taking my test at the end of the month. So
Who gives the test? I thought you had to go to a testing agency in Vancouver or something to do that.
well, that guy is not doing it anymore. He quit. So this guy, Richard Bass, lives in Milwaukee here next to me. And he gives tests all the time. Almost every week, he's giving a test to somebody.
Oh, cool. So are you gonna go for any of the endorsements, Robbie, like Marine Radio or?
I'm just sitting back.
Uh,
I'm not. I'm just sitting back here listening to these guys talk about.
I'm going for the radio broadcast endorsements.
Uh-huh.
You know what?
I think there's a radar one and there's a Marine Radio one endorsement. I'm not sure of all the different ones.
Mm.
I thought about doing the Marine one time when I was ambitious and younger and thought about inspecting radios on boats. But
Okay, well, this covers that too, that it's got element 1 radio law, element 3 radio general telephone operator, element 8 radar endorsement. It's got 800 questions in the pool and they only test you for 100. So it's going to work out pretty good. So far, I'm understanding almost just everything that's in the book here.
that's cool, Robbie. I thought about doing that too. I don't know where I'd go around here, but I could certainly check it out.
Somebody in Boise is probably doing the testing.
I think so. I've been kind of talking with the ARRL people here in Boise and the radio club here, but nobody that I've met yet is really interested in vintage type gear. And I haven't found the cool antique store kind of things. Not too much going around that way, as near as I can tell. Or I haven't met the people anyway, put it that way.
Oh, eventually you will. It'll take time to get around and see everything.
Anyway, we're holding up the show yakking.
Okay. Anybody else want to chit chat? Well, what's the letter for this time?
It's battery sets.
Battery sets. Oh, okay.
And we're talking about starting up the, before the pandemic, we started the project called Save the Battery Sets. We were trying to get Blake was coming up with a power supply that you could put inside a battery set that would run the battery sets and stuff like that. And I think we should restart that. I mean, since we're coming back together and there's still a lot of battery sets that go for almost nothing. So hopefully we can get those and save those sets that go.
Yeah, there's, like you say, there's a lot of battery sets out there.
Yeah, and some of them are beautiful. I love my Arbor phone. I got a Arbor phone 26 and an Arbor phone 45. The Arbor phone 26, I'd love to get a battery power supply for it. It's the one with the curved front.
Oh, I've got one of those.
Yeah, they're really neat. I really like it. What kind of speaker do you run, Lyles?
Well, I haven't gotten it working yet. But is there room in the back of the chassis for a power supply? If it's not,
Well, the one that Blaine worked on is a real small power supply. I mean, it's about I think it's like 5 inches by, by a half an inch kind of thing, little power supply kind of thing that you can put inside the sets. What's it, 5 by 6 or something like that, or 4 by 6? And you said you're not gonna have a battery in there. I mean, it normally holds a great big A and B battery, or a C battery in there. So
yeah, if I remember the Arbor phone cases, I've got the one with the round front, just like you have probably. There should be plenty of room in there for a power supply, or you could just have your power supply sitting in back of it. That's what I do with mine.
yeah, I think Blaine's coming up with a power supply for around less than $40, I think it is, that so you can keep one power supply in each of your radios instead of having buying the big $175 power supply. But you already have that, right?
Well, I built my own. I designed and built.
Oh, you build your own. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got a couple power supplies. I just need to spend more time listening to my battery sets.
Sounds good. I'm looking for I'd like to get an Arbor cone, which is the speaker that Arbor phone sold, but which is a cone speaker. It's kind of an interesting looking speaker. It kind of comes out, like those paper speakers, kind of comes out of the cone, kind of like a reverse of a lot of cone speakers. So,
well, if you want to make your battery set look authentic, get a horn speaker.
Oh, a real horn speaker, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Sonny's got a horn speaker that you might want. He's selling some of his stuff off.
Oh, that's true.
And I heard also George had some horn speakers. He's going to come up and sell some stuff too. So you may want to contact George.
Sounds good. I think George has one that I'm looking for. But I guess I could put any kind of speaker, because that was the deal. You'd buy your own speaker too. So, but I thought if I got an Arbor cone, which is the Arbor phone speaker, would be kind of interesting. They also made a table speaker, but I think that those would just seem to be too expensive. But that one table radio sure went for cheap, and that was beautiful. That was donated Saturday.
Which
Well,
one's that?
all that stuff went cheap.
Oh yeah, it went way too cheap. You should have bid higher. You should have bid higher, Pat. But you already had a truckload, didn't you? So what kind of radios did you get from Tom?
Oh, I ended up buying plastic sets.
Anything stick out? We
There.
recognize?
Well, I don't know. It almost seems like the only people that really collect a lot of plastics are Tom Hoskins, Esteban Mendoza, and myself. I don't know if there's that many other people that collect real heavily on plastics. So
Did you get that beetle plastic, that white beetle plastic set?
yeah,
that
the
you had?
silver tone.
Oh yeah.
Candy cane. Yeah, I got that one, and I got the red Emerson Modern. It's the one with got the handle in the back on top.
Oh, that's a nice one. So that's cool.
Yeah, and a couple other ones. I got a Zenith with a handle, and Admiral, just a regular plain brown one, and and then I got a it's kind of like a beehive, and it's kind of like got swirly red plastic. It's not Beetle or Catlin, but someone drilled holes in it. So I'm trying to make it so that the whole plastic.
So you're gonna fill it full of like a resin that's the red plastic color.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to repair it. It's secret how I'm doing it until it works. if it doesn't work, I'm not gonna say how I'm doing it now. I want to wait until it's done and then say, okay, I use this, because if it doesn't work and I tell you what I'm using, then, somebody else might try it. And I'd rather make it work and then say, okay, this is what I had to do to make it look good.
Now, didn't Tom have a white beetle plastic one? I can remember at the what was the name of the swap meet in Aurora?
I wasn't there, so I don't know. He probably did. He said he didn't sell anything, so people aren't buying a lot of plastic sets.
He was right next to me, and he had a lot of plastic radios. His table was next to mine, and
Did he
but
sell
I
any?
don't remember that one, huh?
Did he sell any? He's telling
I don't
me he
know.
didn't sell any.
I sold a whole bunch of radios when I was
Do you
there.
remember, Mike? Do you remember the radio that was right as close as possible to you in the back row?
That was on my table.
No, it was on his table, but right
Oh.
next to you, and it was on the back. Beetle plastic. Was it a red?
It may have been. You know what? To be honest, Franklin, I don't really recall.
Oh,
Because,
okay.
he had a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, but
So,
that was the
hold
most.
on a
To me, that was the
second.
most interesting radio that he had.
Well, frankly, he probably still has it for sale.
Come on.
He wanted
Yeah.
$300 for it, I think, and I don't know. It was a little more than I was willing to pay.
Yeah, he might have had his stuff priced high. I have no idea. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention.
Somebody mentioned Esteban. I want to get a hold of that guy because he got a radio that I've got a whole lot of literature on. I restored one of those radios that he got. It's the number 3 Westinghouse item.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I
ask
saw
Pat.
your
Sure you
email
got
on that.
Oh yeah,
Was
yeah,
it
he does
Esteban that
have
got-
it.
Okay.
Is it the Westinghouse that's got 4 knobs on it and it
Yep.
dials airplane across the top?
Yep, it's H130, I think is the model number, and
Yeah,
it's,
he's got that. But
it's a beautiful radio. If he can get that back together again and running, it's one of my favorites so far of that era.
unfortunately, when he buys a lot of these sets, he takes them and strips them all down.
Tell him I'll pay him twice what he paid for it.
Oh, seriously, you want it? Oh, okay.
$2.
Well, I've done that before. I know he gets stuff, and I go and ask him like a week later, and he takes them home and he cuts them all up and saves the transformers and the potentiometers and all the tubes and shit. He saves
He
all that
pours
stuff.
them
and
out, huh?
Yeah, he parts them out.
Parts them out, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, you may be too late.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
That's something.
I regret not getting down there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just catch some of the bargains. A lot of good
His
bargains.
stuff was
You
really
could-
going cheap,
Gary, you could have bid online. I would have take your bids for you.
I regret not doing that too. Yes, I was online. I
Yeah.
watched the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, look over here and see the signal generator on my bench. And one of
Yeah.
those went for $1, and then its big brother, the 608, went for free on the free table. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, we had stuff that didn't sell. Damon ended up with that huge, I think it was a signal generator, wasn't it, Pat?
yeah, that's the one.
Is that the
Yeah.
one? Yeah. Yeah, and he got it off the free table. I know he got it because I remember I had to haul it home for him.
Yeah, this thing weighs about 50 pounds, but it is the most solid, stable signal generator I've ever had. It never drifts once it's warmed up for 20 minutes. And it does a really nice job tuning up 455 IFs.
Oh, good.
But it also put up to
That was like
10.7.
an HP, is that an HP?
Yes, an HP.
What
Real
model is it? What model is it?
606. And there are letters. I think mine is a B. But not sure. I can't see it from here.
So the B, I think, actually has a solid state oscillator in it or something.
No, it's an A. Sorry. That was
It's an
just-
A.
Yeah,
Yeah, the A will have a tube oscillator then.
yeah.
Hey,
I've been
Mike,
inside it, but I've never recapped it or anything. It's just solid, very, very industrially built.
hey, Mike,
Yeah,
what does Damien do with that thing he took home? Is he gonna like part it out?
yeah, he's gonna recycle it because it's so heavy. You got a lot of good heavy stuff in it to recycle and all that, I guess. I think, I don't know, unless I didn't ask him what he was gonna do with it. I just assumed maybe that's what it was. But sometimes he cleans those things up and then he'll like sell them or something like that too. So I don't know, but
See this thing right here?
yeah.
It's a shell of a Telefunken radio. I picked that up from him. And
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember that. We brought it out there for you. Yeah.
the president of the Seattle club drove it back up here for me.
Oh, Jay took it and she brought it up for you. Okay. I wondered how you ended up with it, but because you weren't there. Cool.
Yeah, I hooked it up to the HQ 120 and it's my new station speaker.
That's cool.
Nice.
That was actually mine. But
Was
the, yeah, but the chassis and the transformer were bad.
Oh, you know what? I've replaced the transformers in those before. You can find them on the market from Hammond for about 80-90 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Not cheap, but it's worth it. Those radios are so sweet. When they
Yeah.
work.
I have a Gavat that I have all the pieces for. In a box.
But that's not a portable. We're talking about portable radios today.
I
Yeah.
thought it was battery radios.
Battery sets.
Battery sets tonight.
Farm radios and things like that.
Well, battery sets from the 20s or battery sets from any time?
Ah,
Anytime.
What is it, Franklin?
Anytime.
what do you
Any
think?
kind?
Anything that has a battery set.
Oh, nice.
Transoceanics.
Yeah, there we go. We're
That's
inclusive.
a sweet one.
I picked this up at the Chehalis swap meet last fall.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's a very nice one, but there's no batteries in it. And so I'm
Yeah.
interested in that power supply that Blake's putting together because I think there's a lot of space in here.
Yeah, there is.
It looks nice and clean.
It does. It does look nice.
You could almost eat out of it. It's got
Yeah, no kidding.
no
That's
rock.
sweet.
Yeah,
Gary-
I've been having my wants for a transoceanic for some time now. I don't know why I've got the transoceanic bug bad. So
It's a
Is there a pill for
Bruce.
that?
I think there is. It's called, was that Glenlivet?
Yeah.
Glen,
that's Scott.
I gotta grab it.
That's a drink.
it works the same. Makes you forget about it.
Yeah, what was the name of that radio company that made German radios? Not Telefunken, but began
Can I
with a G.
show a battery set? Oh, excuse me, go ahead, Gary.
No, I'm done.
I didn't mean to, I apologize for interrupting.
Okay, I wasn't saying anything important.
We'll
Was
continue
Mike getting
on.
a battery set?
Say that again?
Was Mike going to get a battery set? Mike McCrow?
Second, Pat.
Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, I think he
Mark was
was.
just showing one here just a
I went
moment
to go
ago.
get one.
Mark was just showing a battery set. What do you have there, Mark?
Yeah, that's a battery set. Ward's airline vacuum tube,
Nice.
leather
That's-
case. It's not very big.
Very small.
Yeah.
There's the battery compartment.
Wow.
That looks clean.
How many tubes?
I believe it's 4, could be 5.
Nice. That's tiny.
1R5, what is it? J4. one U5 and a 3V4.
Wow. Does it take a 90-volt battery? Or-
Well, not sure exactly. The B battery is a Ward's 40 or a Burgess P45
Yeah,
or an Everready 477.
Yeah, I think you could run those on 45 volts.
Yeah,
Would that be 45 volts?
yeah, that's
Probably.
around that.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Does it have a transformer in it with a vibrator?
Oh, no.
I
Well,
doubt
that's
it's
not,
not
that's
that
not a
size.
three-way
small.
set. That's just a battery set.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
strictly a battery portable.
No selenium rectifiers.
There's
I
the
got this one.
inside.
Oh yeah, let me see that, Mark, before I show this. Oh,
Wow.
sweet.
Wow.
Anyway, I got this one. It's a neat little Emerson portable with a handle. It's a model 801, and I think it's just AM only. Anyway, this is it takes a couple of their B or C batteries right through up in here. They're not in it for the A batteries, you know, for the filaments, and then it takes a 67.5 volt battery over here. I think it plugs in over here on the other side, you know, one side on each. And then the tubes are mounted horizontally, and there's 4 of them. You can see those. And then it's got it's got this iron antenna up here on top. But it's just kind of cute, and it's all tube, but it's very small. And yeah, 2 1.5 volt A batteries and one 67.5 volt for the B.
The inside, it's tube type.
And it's got the label in it right there.
You ever have it
Yeah.
run?
So it's kind of cute.
They're very clean.
Yeah, it's a real nice, clean little set. So I gotta see if I can get a battery to make it work.
I saw-
The A's are easy.
There's something that run these things on 9-volt transistor radio batteries.
Well, but how many would you need? I don't think I could fit them in there.
Mike,
Yeah.
you need one of these. That's 65 volts with a 9-volt battery snap on.
Are those 9 volts? Yeah.
No, they're a bunch of, I think they're a bunch of 6-volt batteries, but they are the same size as the battery you need. I
Right,
think the
right.
battery you need is what mine uses as well. And mine is, mine's the
nice.
infamous, I'll turn the light off because it's shining on it again.
Right.
But yeah, this is called The World of Music. It's a book.
Oh, it's a book. Oh, nice.
That is clever.
And inside you can see the
That's sweet.
it's a nice Crosley.
Here.
The screw is missing in it because you want to see the back.
Mhm.
And you see the red battery in the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that's the battery you need. And you can see that we're about the same size.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
that's my offering tonight.
Oh, is that battery a rechargeable one or is it a use once and
Not to use once and toss them, but they're not expensive. The batteries that they use are these little tiny cells. These are called a 4LR44. I think they're better known as a, let me get the other number off of them. They're a 6-volt battery. There's another number. I think it's like 123A or 433 or something like that.
Yeah.
They're used like on dog collars and stuff like that.
Yeah, these are actually made by the Pet Standard battery company.
Huh.
But anyway,
so I'd need.
It takes 8
I'd
of
probably
those.
need 10 or 11 of those to get 67. Although I wonder if it would probably operate on maybe less.
I don't know. My radio works just fine on these. If you need more, they make a battery similar size to this that's 12 volts, and you can get a holder that holds fewer.
Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of radios like you just showed.
And I just take I take 7 9-volt transistor batteries, line them up side by side, wrap them electrical tape,
The 9,
and then just spot solder, in series. So you have 63 volts, and I've never had a problem fitting that into a radio like that. And you
Oh,
can get
okay.
9-volt batteries really cheap.
You can solder to the contacts like that?
Yeah, just do it quickly.
Okay.
huh? Yeah, I've used the 9 volts before, and because you can plug them in together,
Right, but you
And-
don't have the
but
space to do that.
you don't have room for that. Yeah. Yeah. But those little batteries like Blake is showing, those things are really cool. You could make that work.
Might have one.
Those 6-volt, or especially the 12-volt batteries.
Well, maybe inside this big monster, because there's a lot of room in there. I could
Yeah,
probably
there
put
is. You got a lot of room in there.
plain old 9-volt batteries.
Yeah, you could do it with that, Gary.
And
Gary,
then-
do you remember who you bought that from?
Oh, I don't. No, I don't.
Was it one of our members or?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's from Jeff.
Hey.
Nice.
I like it. It's a good radio. I had to.
I have one.
Yeah, you can make a battery for that. There on the internet, they show you step by step how to put together a battery that, well, basically uses batteries but shows you the dimensions of the box and everything.
Mhm.
And so you make the connector and the whole works.
Wow.
Well, it's like a transoceanic, right? But
Yeah.
it's not quite that.
Right. Trying to see.
It's a one-band transoceanic.
Yeah, one band. There you go. I wonder if it takes the same batteries.
Probably does. You have a transoceanic sitting there?
Yeah, this is a transoceanic. This is a 8G005 YT.
That's clean.
Yeah, it's pretty clean, but I use shoe
Oh.
polish on the case to make it all black again. And this is what got me interested in making a battery for it. But then I talked to some people and they said, well, why don't you make a like a multi-vibrator with an inverter and you make a electronic battery instead of a battery.
Mhm.
So these take the 90-volt battery and with 90 volt 9 volts. But this puppy's got 8 tubes in it, so I imagine it might if you make a battery using 10 9-volt batteries for your 90, and then I imagine it might eat up the juice pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
It's the filaments. They're going to take a lot of the juice.
Yeah, the filaments will take a lot of it. And
Well, of course, one of
And
them
those-
is the rectifier.
Those are loctals, right?
yeah, those are all loctals.
Yeah.
Of course, one of them is the rectifier. So
Yeah, so that one would be out of the picture. So only 7 tubes at the filament.
exactly.
Are they 50 milliamp filaments on that, or?
I think
You know,
so.
I think they are too.
Yeah, I really haven't looked into the current that they're going to draw. I just figured, well, I'll try to make something and see how well it works. But haven't got to it yet.
Yeah.
But the radio does works fine on being plugged in. Might
So
work
what-
better with the battery. Who knows?
Yeah.
The other thing about these sets, of course, is the switch tower. They've got to be cleaned. All the contacts have to be cleaned for them to work really well. This works fairly well because I tried spraying a contact cleaner on the contacts, and that does a fair job of cleaning, but not as good as if you take the thing apart and dunk it, everything.
So when you build a battery for that, do you use like a classic like a transformer and then go over to like is that like an LM317 or something like that? Or those go up that high voltage? I don't know how you'd make a 90 volt DC source for that.
You'd have to use a little switching power supply, and you gotta be careful
Yeah.
because the oscillator frequency might put all kinds of birdies on your shortwave bands.
It might, I mean, you can do it, but you'd have to probably play around making a filter to filter out, or a trap to trap out the harmonics it puts out. But the other way to do it is you can take two transformers back to back, two small ones. Like take a 6 volt, and you plug that into the AC, and then you take the other 6 volt and turn it around backwards and feed it, and then that'll go out the 120 volt end, and you'll get a step up there, and then you can rectify that. So that makes that's fairly simple, and then you can use like 1N007 rectifiers, or diodes,
Filter.
Diodes,
yeah,
yeah.
to make it back to DC, make it into DC, and then build a pi filter for it. So
But
that's a simple way to do it.
But your radio already has AC on it anyway, right?
Oh yeah, but if you want to hook it into the battery and run it off the battery, then you can. Yeah, that's why I'm batting around in my head. Well, yeah, it runs on AC, and if I make a transformer type battery for it that rectifies and plugs into the battery, well, what's the point?
That's what I was wondering.
but you don't have to replace the batteries when they wear down, because
that's how car radios work. They've a multi-vibrator in them. But,
yes. Yeah. And then
What's Jeff holding up there?
Yeah, what is
This is the battery pack I made for that Zenith portable that Gary has. So there's basically 10 9 volt transistor cells in series.
Uh-huh.
And then the
So
D
that's
cells.
That's your 90 volts there.
Yeah.
And then there's the 9 volts, or
No, what is it? Is it either 3 or 1.5? I forget.
okay.
Gary, do you remember
Oh.
on that Zenith set, the Loctals? I think they're 1.5.
Yeah, they're 1.5,
they're
but
1.5.
they're in series. They're in series, so you have to. They give you like 9 volts to run through the.
There's 5 tubes in this
That's
set.
1.5, 7. It'd be 9 volts, 7.5 volts.
Yeah, 9
right.
volts.
Be 9 volts.
But you may
So-
want
so-
to put a few
Yeah,
9
like
volts.
Gary says, there's 5 tubes, but one of them is a 3 volt tube, so that gives you
Right.
six
Yeah.
times 1.5.
3.6, yeah. So Jeff, when you built that, could you use like a rechargeable batteries on that? And then
Yeah, you could.
Actually,
but
these
not-
sets,
9 volt batteries are expensive, and you get
Yeah.
a rechargeable 9 volt battery. That's probably even more. Yet.
you'd be
But-
surprised the batteries you can find on Amazon. Panasonic brand is really good. They don't have to be alkaline batteries.
Yeah,
I use
That's
carbon
right.
zinc a lot.
but you'd need more than one 9 volt to run the filaments for any length of time. I mean, you'd wear one of those things down like in a heartbeat,
You
Yeah.
use D cells and
Yeah,
series them up, series parallel.
series them up to 9 volts. That'd be
There's the other side I didn't show you.
Yeah. So those are your D cells.
yeah.
A voltage filament. Yeah.
this guy here only has 4 1-volt filaments in series, so that could be run off of 2 D cells.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to listen to these, and especially the ones that are short wave, like the transoceanics, I mean, I really recommend a battery, because then you eliminate any chance of line hum.
mhm.
And batteries last a long time.
Yeah. Well, when they came out with the miniatures, they cut the filament current way down on those when they manufactured them. So, you know, the batteries last a lot longer in one of those, for instance, like versus transoceanic versus one like Larry's got with the Locals in it.
Right.
'Cause the Locals just, even though they're still 1.5 volt, they still draw quite a bit more current than the
Yeah.
Well, you
miniature.
guys are just a bunch of tightwads. You know, most of those batteries are gonna die of shelf life, you know?
Is that
So,
right?
there you go.
Yeah, okay.
So when you guys listen to shortwave, is there any channel that you say, oh yeah, I tune into this? 'Cause that's one of those things I've been wanting to do is just go, I've got a big Zenith, but I got to figure out how to get the right antenna to it. And I'd like to try listening to some foreign shortwave just to see what it's like.
Like setting your clocks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
That's a reliable
that.
station right there.
I think around 6 meg used to be anyway, that you could always pick up. Radio Havana used to come in real strong, but you know, in the last few years, I haven't heard them for well, they sometimes they come in Spanish too, but they used to broadcast in English right out of Cuba and with a lot of propaganda and stuff. And it was really kind of interesting to listen to what they had to say. And then I used to pick up New Zealand pretty good too in the evening, you know.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
They went off the air.
A couple of stations there. And I think New Zealand, they were up around 11 or 12 meg, I think, right in there. And I used to pick those up. So there's a few stations if they're still alive. And there's several religious channels on there too you can get. And then I used to pick up foreign languages, and I didn't know for sure. Sounded like they were either Japanese or some Asian country, but I couldn't recognize it because I don't speak it, so I wasn't sure. You know, you always pick up that stuff. You know,
Like Tokyo Rose.
yeah. Well, she broadcasts in English, but this is actually a foreign language. You know, and I couldn't understand. I think it was some Chinese, but I'm not sure, or that kind of language that you pick up some on shortwave.
I don't know if you heard the story on NPR today. Apparently, there's these stations that just broadcast numbers in 5 number sequences, and it's coded by stuff. And so you listen to them, and they're just 5, 7, 2, 4, 3, and it's a mechanical kind of a voice. Well, apparently Russia has been doing this for a long time, and somebody hacked them and put music up on their audio feed in back of mechanical voice. So yeah, I mean, even old shortwave analog AM voice modulation can be hacked.
Oh, wow. Well, that's what the British did to the Germans in World War II. They flooded over that people's radio frequency with real high power, and so they had to shut down the Goebbels and his Ministry of Propaganda radio station. They had, because they got a 600,000 watt station in England that they broadcast to flood that channel out.
Yeah,
they hacked it.
What are you showing there, Myron?
This is an interesting transoceanic. I got it from what's our friend's name who moved to North Carolina, whose name I can't recall right now. He was on a couple of weeks ago.
Walton?
Rick Walton? Rick
Rick
Walton, yeah.
Walton, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's a military transoceanic, but it's kind of odd because the front, it has the side wheel dial and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've seen the covers that had these as color coded instead of black and white. But it's definitely military set because on the back, which is what I was showing before, it's got the 220 volt adapter, but it has the can't quite show it here. It has the schematic, the military schematic on the inside of it.
Oh, okay.
And you see the 220 volt adapter in there. And so it says it's a R520A URR, which has, it has fuses and extra tubes and stuff. And the cover is like oilcloth, in Army colors. And so
yeah,
I think it might have been from the Korean War. I don't really know, but it's definitely unusual. You don't see very many of them.
That's a nice. They were
that
green.
is.
Weren't
That's
they
neat.
olive green?
Yeah, it's
Myron,
yeah, it's
weren't
kind
they
of olive green. Yeah.
it's an olive green or it's a brown?
Well, I would say it's olive green, although
Oh, okay.
you can see that it may have been painted at one point, but I'm not
Oh,
sure if
okay.
that was like on the edges or what. So it's a 600 design, but it says R520 on the schematics. So,
That's 5 tubes.
well, it's the normal lineup for
Like
a
a 600,
transoceanic, with the miniature tubes.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the rectifier.
It was 6, I think. Yeah.
It's
Well,
got
let's
2
get the 1L6.
rectifier.
They got the 1L6.
Yeah.
Is
For
that,
sure.
is that the military version of the H500, the URC 520?
That says R520. I know I can't open the
URR
turn it the other way.
Yeah, that was the official military designation on that one, I believe.
See, the paper says R520A/URR.
Yeah, that's the right order. It's the URR is on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but-
I believe that's Korean War era.
Yeah, it has, the chassis is got corrosion protection, and it has a big stamp in the back of the chassis that says USA.
Yeah,
So
Didn't say made in China then. That's good.
Now, Myron, some of those were sent to the Bay of Pigs, right? I mean, that was they said that some of them were sent to Cuba.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is the one that was sent to Cuba or not, but I know that they're highly desirable, the ones that were sent to Cuba.
Well, and it has a number on the speaker mounting, which, oh yeah, this has the 50A1 also in it, of course, for the voltage regulator. But it has a set of numbers on the speaker, which I believe is a date code. The 343, it just means it's a speaker or something, but the date is 550. So I don't know if that's the 50th week of 1955.
May 5th.
My guess is the 5 is the
50.
year, and then the 50 is the week.
Oh,
Those
So
aren't real common.
Slightly post-Korean
in
War. Anyway, interesting set.
So does the RR stand for recreational radio?
Doesn't stand for railroad.
I don't know, Lyles. Do you have any input
No,
on that?
that's a good question.
I thought it
I
stood
don't,
for
I don't
really
think so.
rare.
I think it's just part of the nomenclature system for the military, and who's got that figured out?
Because those were actually recreational radios, right? They were only for just listening. There is nothing that went
What,
through.
the ones that he has? That
Yeah,
we-
the oceanic.
Yeah. It's called a morale radio.
Oh, morale radio. Okay.
That's one of the names.
so Myron, you're saying you think that's like a Julian date or something that's on there, or on the date code?
Who knows?
Usually, year and week number out of the year.
Oh, okay.
One digit for the year out of the decade.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, guys, I'm gonna bail out now. I'll see you
All right, Robbie.
next time.
Good night,
See you
Robbie.
next week. Take care.
Yep, see you next Wednesday.
When I see
Yep, everybody keep healthy.
Yeah.
You
Good luck
bet.
with the
You
moles,
too.
Robbie.
Yeah, I'm gonna hire me a cat.
Yeah,
Use
commandeer the
moss
neighbor's
balls in the
cat.
hole.
Just start feeding him.
Yeah.
Is that an Atwater Kent you've got there, Lyles, or what kind of battery?
Yes,
set is-
would you guys like to see my Atwater Kent?
Yes.
Yes.
What I brought with me this evening is I brought let me get it in the right, this is my Atwater Kent Model 19. You can tell it looks just like a Model 20, except it's only got 3 dials. The Model 20's got 4. This radio plays. And here's one of the, I don't know how the lighting is going to work, probably not all that great, but anyway, it's got 4 tubes in it, one RF amplifier detector, and then 2 audio tubes. And I guess, I don't know if you want to think of this as like the little brother of the Model 20 line or not, but this must have been a way to get a little bit cheaper radio. And the case is original. I need to put some polish on it or something like that to make it look a little bit better, but I enjoy listening to it more than that.
Well, nice. Well, now I have a question. So you're saying they have one RF amplifier, and then they use 2 audio amplifiers
Right.
after the detector. That's a little different than most, but and then that's a good. So in other words, it plays pretty well that way. Is that right?
Yeah, it's got 2. It's got the detector, which gives you some audio amplification, and it's got 2. Yeah, and this guy's got it's all 01As, 4 01As.
Okay, all right.
And the Model 20, which is the 5-tube version of this, has two RF amplifiers, and then a detector, and then the 2 audio amplifiers.
2 audios. Oh, okay, right.
And
right.
this particular one has a on its tag. I'll show you. It's got its tag with it. If you can, I don't know how the lighting is. There's the tag. The tag says it's a Model 20. So I figure this must have been either a Monday morning Model 19 or a Friday afternoon at 4:30 Model 19.
Oh boy! Or somebody just found a tag and stuck it on there. Then maybe.
Well,
later
it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's all original from the.
Oh,
factory.
does it? Okay, that's cool.
And
So what kind of speaker
when
does
we're
that-
talking about when Pat was talking about the save the battery sets or something like that, what I like to do is I build power supplies for these. They're external. I don't try to put anything inside this case, and that way I can listen to them.
Yeah.
What do you use for a speaker and antenna?
I have an antenna that goes diagonally across my garage, and then comes in my family room door.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about this.
And
one of those square loops.
No. It's just a diagonal long wire. The length of a double car garage, or the diagonal length of a double car garage, and then that's all I use. And then I like I say, I've designed and built a couple of power supplies for these guys, and they work okay. And for a speaker, I have a horn speaker, and then I've got an Atwater Kent speaker that matches him.
Nice.
So I use those, and those are high impedance speakers. And like I say, it uses all four 01As.
Nice.
And I think I've never seen another one of these except maybe on eBay.
So Cliff doesn't have one?
Who?
Cliff,
Oh,
Tuttle.
I don't know. I was hoping he was going to be here tonight.
You missed
Yeah,
him
I
last
wonder
week.
if Cliff has a Model 19. He has so many Atwater Kents.
He was here last week.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was here last week too. I just didn't just ask about it. But these are really, compared to the Model 20s, these are really not easy to find. So I don't know if he has one or not. Any more questions?
I got some questions to go back to on that transoceanic.
Oh, okay.
According to my book, the R520 URR was different dial than the slide rule type dial. It was like that.
Oh, an airplane dial.
Yeah,
It looks like an H500.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, the UR or the 520 was only done in 1953. If instead you go to the 600, there's a leather version of that.
And that's a slide rule. Yeah.
That's the slide rule style. So I'm kind of wondering whether that radio was kind of kludged together.
Yeah, it's an odd set for sure.
No, but there are R520/URR. They're not unseemingly rare, but they're just not real common. But that's a correct.
Yeah, but according to you know, these guys, supposedly the experts, the 520 had the rotary dial rather than the slide rule dial.
One thing is though, if you look in the back here, I can't show it to you, but the numbers that are on the slide rule dial, over on the right-hand side, there's a big red ink that says USA on it. And also on the broadcast dial, it has triangles for the CD. And what year did that come in? Civil Defense?
Civil Defense came in, what, 54 to 63, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm still sticking with the date stamp of
Yeah.
week 50 of 1955.
So what we were looking at doesn't quite coincide with the supposed expert book. So I'm confused.
Well, maybe it's a one-off because maybe Zenith was on transition or something to the 600 model, but they still were making or calling it, you know, because that dial, of course, looks like, you know, a 600 model, but the number of tubes makes it like a H500. So, you know, it's kind of a crossbreed.
Right, right. So that would make it much more rare than what you would expect.
So I don't know if you can see over here, you can see it has USA in red letters over there.
You see the red letters.
Now what are,
So yeah, that face and that pattern is the H600.
T or the
Stamping on the inside says it's the R520 URR.
Yeah, yeah. That's the paper schematic, which is glued on the inside. And usually these had a metal nomenclature plate, and I can't find any place that there's, you know, nail holes or anything for that. So it doesn't.
all the standard
maybe it's a counterfeit radio.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Let's say it's an odd duck.
Does it have all the standard bands in it, Myron?
Yeah, this is the normal transoceanic bands for the 600.
Okay.
The bottom is broadcast,
Right.
and then it's some sort of general coverage.
Of
Well, it
short
says,
waves.
4 to 8 megacycles, 2 to 4 megacycles, 16 meters, 19 meters, 25 meters, 31 meters on the buttons over here. But yeah, it's an odd duck. This color over here, the speaker, which is this blueness over on the speaker, is kind of an H 500 coloration, whereas this obviously here is a 600 dial. So yeah, it's quite an interesting variation. The other thing I've seen, Mark, when you talk about these, is I have a faceplate where these letters over here are in different colors. And I was told that was from a military set. but I don't really know. I have never seen a set with that, faceplate on it. So I don't know if that shows up in your book or not. I have an older version of
I
that
don't know.
book.
I'll have to read the book again.
I'm just saying, I have an older version of that book, which is, what got me into all these sets. But at the time, they said there was possibly a military version. They didn't know at that time. And so I'm sure when that book came out, a bunch of people stepped up and said, oh yeah, look at this.
On Sunny's website, they have a brown one, but it has an airplane dial, and it has the multicolored presets like you were talking
Oh,
about.
okay. Yeah. That's interesting. So I always wondered what radio that went with.
And then he wrote in there that it's during the Korean War and the Bay of Pigs operation. And that's an H500.
Well, Bay of Pigs was a long times from Korean War.
Right.
Yeah,
That was a
61.
That was in
60, early
61,
60s. Yeah.
1961.
But I thought they were green. Now I wonder if Mark's book says anything about, because these are brown, right? Leather.
Well, it could have faded.
There was the leather version, but this
Green
is
to
oilcloth. This one is clearly oilcloth. It wasn't any of that leather covering. I have
Oh,
a brown leather one, and you can tell the texture of the cover is totally different.
mhm.
Here's
This
a
is
fact that this was brown once upon a time. I don't know if you can see it, but now it's green. So brown
Yeah.
fades to green. It loses its red part, or I don't know what. Maybe there's one of the colors that makes brown goes away, and what you're left with is green. It's bizarre. I've tried to
The pig-
restore some color.
The dye or the pigment in the leather or something. Or,
Yeah. And it's not very good leather. It's not like you can, restore the color like shoes or a pocketbook or something like that. It's
I wonder if
cheap, unfortunately.
it's set out in the sun or something. Maybe I don't know.
Have you tried shoe polish on it?
I have. I've got
Okay.
nice brown Italian shoe polish.
Hold on, I'll be back.
It's really nice and brown while it's dark, but then you rub it all off and nothing changes.
Probably too dried up to soak in the shoe polish, huh?
I've told this stuff works and we'll get all the grime off, but I'm afraid it'll bring it down to nothing and I'll have no stain color left if I use it. But a friend of mine swears by this stuff.
Well, guys, I'm gonna sign off. So we'll see everybody next week. So anyway, enjoy.
Yep.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna sign off too, guys. Everybody have a good evening.
Yep.
Bye, Lyles. Thanks for coming.
I just got one battery set. I don't know. Can I share my screen real quick?
Sure.
Sure.
And before I go, Pat, can we find someone to take minutes in March?
Oh, yeah. I'll send out a email and see if we can't get someone to do that.
Now, are we not, is Franklin not gonna do Zoom for the March meeting?
No, he won't be there.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
We're trying to find somebody to do it. I don't know if anybody knows.
Well, it shouldn't be impossible.
No, it should be easy.
Yeah.
Tough job, Franklin. You did a great job on that.
Yeah, it's good.
It's hard to do when you're doing all kinds of other stuff. I need to get it something to stabilize the camera better, but
Mhm.
I've been trying different things, but they just haven't worked with my wheelchair. So it's been difficult. We'll figure it out.
Need to strap a mast onto the back of the wheelchair.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them, but they just don't. This newest wheelchair I have, they just don't want to fit on it. It's kind of weird. It's the way it's tucked underneath each other, but I'm working on it. So
So I got this Crosley Cathedral at one of the meetings. It was in the free table, and you can see it was in so-so shape. But the reason why I got it for free is because it's a battery set.
Wow.
So this is what it looks like now.
Oh, wow.
quite a bit of improvement.
Oh, yeah.
So how long that
Really
took you,
nice.
Pat?
I don't remember. Not too long, because you can tell by the before pictures, it just needed to be stripped and like restained and relacquered and stuff. So wasn't too bad. There wasn't a lot of wood damage to it, so wasn't horribly long. So
That's what plastic radios, right?
yeah. No, I don't know if it plays. I'm gonna need a battery set. Or I
It's
need
a
a
run off
battery
a
thing for it.
32 or a 6-volt.
Huh? No, I don't know. See, that was a question I had on this battery sets. How many different battery configurations? Because I've got a battery set radio. It's a farm set, and it takes a 6-volt radio. And I've seen other farm sets that take just a 32-volt radio. And then it's like, these are all the wires that came out. So I'm assuming.
Oh, boy.
Just,
That's a lot of wires to wire up a battery. Maybe some's antenna.
Just plug those into 110 and see what happens.
Okay, switch them around to turn lights up. Okay.
Yeah.
Magic smoke.
Trial and
I'm
error.
assuming this is just a regular, battery set that needs the B plus and 90 and 45 and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, might be.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
What year is that? About 1930 or?
I don't know.
Oh, look at Myron's got an airplane.
Oh, yeah.
This is your classic 7G605 pre-war transoceanic. It's not a very
I
good
thought
shape.
the pre-war had the sailboat on it, and then when the war started, they put the B-17.
Exactly right.
Oh, I didn't know
Exactly
that.
right. Yeah. So
Force Metal, is that original?
yeah, it's original-ish. I mean, it's beat up. It's missing the cover
Oh.
here. There's a metal plate that goes over these switches. And then of course there's the plastic window that goes over the dial, but yeah, I have a couple of these. I think there were like 3 different production runs or whatever, and you can tell by the serial numbers which run they were in. But as it was said, the bomber is the later versions, the sailboat was the first versions.
No, I read that where some of them, as they were converting over, some of them have the sailboat version under the bomber version. So, I mean, in other words, there's 2 different.
Oh, that would be
rope
cool.
lines.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so some of them, I don't know how many, they didn't say, but
Kind of like a
have been
55 double die penny. Mistake.
That 55,
Well,
right?
what makes it ugly is that the sailboat versions come on those smaller sets, like the one Gary has. Not exactly, but similar to one that Gary has. So you can take one of the sailboat ones and put it on one of these guys, and it would fit and everything. And also they make reproductions too. But these have alligator, finish on them, and I think that they all had that. And they just barely worked. I mean, apparently they spent a lot of time trying to get them to work. This is
So
before the
Myron,
one.
that's just. Oh, go ahead.
It's one LA6, instead of one L6. This is the locked hole tube setup, and I think it has like 8 or 9 tubes in it. I think it has an awful lot of tubes.
there are 2 different types of converters.
One of the hardest things to find is the lid.
Mm.
The lids only fit these sets, and the other sets that were just AM only are like an inch shorter. And people would take the lids off and lose them. So I think I have one with a missing lid.
Yep, I'm missing a lid on this beauty over here. That Myron helped me out. He saved me and replenished 3 tubes that I burnt up by mistake.
The one of those I have is missing the instruction plate that goes in the lid.
Yeah, well, we could, have that reproduced. There it is.
Yeah, I've been looking for the artwork to reproduce that, but I haven't really found anything yet.
Sonny doesn't have any?
That's a 2-dimensional thing, right? You can just put that on your scanner and reprint it.
I'd say this one's pretty good. It's a little, it's got a couple of dirty spots, but it's really held up pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
So-
nice.
So yeah, if you want to scan it, no problem.
Probably take a 11 by 14 scanner. I don't think I have one of those anymore.
Those are
Maybe,
handy.
maybe Sonny wants to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an idea.
So Myron, is that screen just stitched in? Is it just stitched on the screen cloth?
I think it's painted.
I think it's stitched.
Really?
Should be.
I worked on one, the sailboat type that I could have sworn it was just painted on there. Not in the stitching, but I could be wrong.
How does it feel?
I don't have it anymore. Give it back to its owner. I can ask a question. He would know.
We can't hear you, Myron. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry, one of the interesting things is the red square there, because they were interested, they were worried about you leaving the set on and running down the batteries. So they had that red indicator that you had left the set on.
Yeah,
that's-
just a red flag, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little flag that's, tripped by the volume control when you turn it on and off.
If you've ever worked on one of those sets, you'll discover that the volume control won't go all the way down. And that's true across the entire line. It's for the same reason. So you
Yeah,
don't
they
turn it all the
designed
way
that
down.
so you would notice that it was still on, yeah. Because
They have that-
batteries were so expensive.
They have that same little red flag for the HG, the 8G 005 also.
And then by the time they got to the 600, they took the volume control and put a little, instead of the knob being totally round, it had a little flat spot that when you turned it on, it uncovered the red piece. And then when you turned it off, it covered up the red piece. So they didn't have the
was cheap.
mechanical spring and the mechanism that's in these.
Yeah, it's cheaper to make.
Yep, just remolded the knob. But if you plugged it into the wall, you didn't care so much about the batteries, I guess.
Okay, the question has been asked. Is that sailboat on your Zenith portable painted or stitched in the speaker? I'm gonna find out shortly.
Sailboat stitched. I just checked mine.
Oh, okay.
Now is the plane that's painted on?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's probably stitched as well.
Yeah, you could run your finger across it and tell. Almost like embroidered.
Yeah. You must have had a special machine, a numerical control machine doing that, right?
It's probably hand done, isn't it? Probably.
I can't imagine that it would be really actually hand done. That's pretty amazing.
Because how many were they gonna pump out? I mean, you can't.
they
Unless they
talk
have a whole
about
bunch
the-
of little ladies stitching
Yeah,
them.
the
Yeah,
three
there's
different
lots of-
runs, I forget what the numbers were, but there was like 10,000 on one and 15,000 on the other and 20,000 on the other one. There was 3 different runs of them before the war. And they were in the tens of thousands, but I don't remember the exact numbers.
Have you seen how they made tubes though? They were all hand wired. They were all hand welded together and hand, hand welded and hand blown, all kinds of, just basically had little ladies doing it.
Well, but they had big machines that would like do the evacuation for the vacuum and, have these carousels that would turn around and stuff. And, I've seen those things that Telefunken was using in Germany, at least. Of course,
Yeah,
that was after the war, so maybe you're right.
The glass envelopes are all a uniform size. They can't be hand blown.
Right. They had a little machine that brought them down, and so that the envelopes were set up, but doing like all the little wiring for the the grid and things were all hand wired, and then they heated them up and set them on there, and then they used the getters and induction heaters for the getters there's a video on YouTube about all these little ladies with no safety equipment whatsoever. And in nice little dresses out there where we're wiring all these things, making them one at a time.
Remember the radium girls that
Yeah.
put the
Oh, yeah.
put on
Yeah,
the
that's horrible.
hands and they'd lick the paintbrush to get the detail. And they had cancer of the tongue and throat.
Ooh. Yep.
Didn't know back then.
Of course, most all of the Tektronix scopes were built by little old ladies too.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Hand built.
Well, I'm gonna check out, guys. Nice to talk to you and see all these neat little battery radios.
And thanks for sharing, Larry.
Yep. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Right.
All right, me too, guys. I'm
Me
gonna head
too.
out.
Yeah, I should too.
So Warren, you got to tell us about your surgery. How you doing and what happened?
Oh, I went ice skating. No,
You broke it, huh?
yeah, I broke my upper part of my hip
Oh, ouch.
and,
That ice is hard.
well, it was not fun, but I mean, there's a lot of other people suffering worse than I did on that, so. But it's healing up good. I use a lot of physical therapy right now. And, feels good.
Sounds good. I'm glad you're doing better.
Yep, that's good to hear.
When you have just a hip joint replacement, just because it's wore out, you can almost get up the same day and take off. But when it's fractured, it damages all the muscles and the tissues all around it. No. And when I finally got into the hospital, they couldn't take care of it. I had to wait a day. So then there's huge blood hemoglobin developed on it. Well, anyway. Okay now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's good.
I bet your
news.
cows missed you, right?
Thank goodness for my grandson.
Oh, well, that's
He's
good.
doing the feeding for me.
Good to have family.
Yeah.
Well, glad to hear that you're doing good. Glad to see you again, Warren.
Yeah. I did get back to, you bet. I don't add much to the program, but I learned a lot from you guys.
Glad to share. I'm gonna take. Good seeing you guys again. Look
Hi,
forward
Gary.
All right.
to next.
See you next
I'm
week.
gonna check out too. See you next week, maybe.
So Jeff, what AM FM did you get?
Oh, that was that Zenith H724.
Oh, how would it turn out?
I haven't really I'm gonna take a look at it before I plug it in. It's supposed to be all ready to go, but I want to get a look at it, and been busy, and then evenings I've been watching the Olympics and
Exactly.
get to it soon. But yeah, that's a beautiful radio. I mean, $10, that's ridiculous.
That Philco that I got, it's pretty interesting. I put a 9-volt on it because it has a 9-volt connector. And I was looking at it, it says 6-volt on it, and it is super loud. You like turn it up only about a third of the way. I think somebody just wired in a 9-volt cap to
Yeah,
it.
you're probably okay with the extra 3 volts on that. Just gonna knock the volume down a little bit.
Yeah, there's I mean the volume switch is scratchy, but other than that, it gets good reception. It gets all the AM radios around here.
Remember those channel masters that have the little 4-cell AA?
Yeah, they're only
motors?
6-volt, right? So yeah.
But they use like the 9-volt connector for
Yeah,
that.
that hooks onto a little carriage that has the
Yeah, so
exactly.
a lot of times when you find those radios, the battery holder's missing. So if you don't look at the diagram telling you how many batteries, you just automatically think, let me stick a 9-volt in there. And a lot of people have done that. I did that by mistake, and the radio was fine. And I don't think that extra 3 volts is going to cause any problem.
Does it just make it have a lot more gain? I mean, it's a lot louder. So is that
Yeah,
the
so you just have to knock the volume down a little bit.
Yeah, just barely turn it up. Yeah. Pretty cool. Nice radio though. Very clean, like you said. It was a good deal.
So anybody going to the Rickyall swap meet or the Ham Fest?
I was thinking about going, but I don't know if I want to go all by myself down there. Figure there'll be somebody down there.
Do they have, I know it's mostly ham gear, but is that a place you might find vintage radios too?
I think so. I mean, that's what I hear. I hear people, and actually, it's a better place to find vintage radios because it's one of those things where it's a swap meet kind of thing. So there's all kinds of or a flea market kind of thing. On a normal day. So a lot of people bring their other stuff too. So
And I think
that's what I hear.
last year it got canceled, I believe.
Right? Yeah. They had
So-
one in October. They have it twice a year. I
Oh,
think.
twice a year? Okay. Well, I don't know. Did October get canceled?
No,
Probably-
they had one in October.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't go. But and I've seen other things. I mean, it's a couple buildings, so it's a lot. But the big one is actually up in Puyallup, the Mike and Key, I guess. It's supposed to be the biggest other than California. Biggest up here in the Northwest.
And that's coming up.
That's May. That would be on the next May 12th, I think it is. Or March 12th. I'm sorry, March 12th. And I'm interested in going to that.
I'm undecided if I'm going to that. So it's like an hour and 20-minute drive for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a long drive.
But might be worth it.
Yeah, well, there's a guy's going to bring some Adam. He's supposed to, as soon as he's trying to get him back from a friend, but he's got a couple of Commodore 64s, and I want to get him and see if I can get him run
I
again.
saw that. It's also a lot of computer stuff.
Yeah.
Mentioned, computers too.
So, but people bring all kinds of stuff, and Linda's going to bring 10,000 tubes there. So you just don't know what she has, and so, but it'd be kind of interesting. So, but she's got to move. She's going to move down here, but she wants to sell her radios up there. Might be smarter.
Yeah, more money probably.
Yeah, it's the cheapest thing as stuff go down here, right? So I was wondering, Blake, are we gonna restart the Save the Battery set if you're still listening? You know what that's?
Well, get back together with Mr. Mayfield and see if we ever got our boards. We ordered our boards and they came from the center of the COVID crisis in China. So I'm assuming that somewhere along the line we will
Shenzhen? Like
we'll get
Shenzhen,
back
is that where they
involved
came
with
from?
them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, Shenzhen.
I think Pat was talking about wanting to see if he's promised it for a couple of years. So if I can help in any way, I was thinking about making like t-shirts and that kind of thing. And
well,
fun stuff.
I'm afraid it's going to probably be a restart.
Okay.
A lot of the parts that we wanted to source out of surplus are gone, and now we've got a constrained supply chain. So anyway, we'll work on it and we'll get it. But the designs are done, and the prototype power supply, I have about 5 of them in the field, and none of them have failed to date. So I feel pretty good about the design. And I think they were right in the $35 to $40 range to build one.
That's super cool. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Hey, Blake, was there a particular component that you think you might have a problem getting?
Yes.
And what is that? Or is that a secret?
I'm sitting here with the camera off, grinning at you. In particular, there was a surplus split bobbin transformer that had 2 primaries and 2 secondaries. The primaries were 120, 120, and the secondaries were 6.3 and 6.3. So what we did was we lit up one of the 110s, and that gave us the 2 6s. And we combined those to give us 6 volts at about 3.5 amps. And then we used the second primary as a secondary, which gave us 120 volts to play with. And we took that back around to the backside and ran it through a simple regulator and a diode ladder, Zener diode ladder. The 6 volt had a standard 317T adjustable regulator on it. But it's just a gut-wrenchingly simple supply. What we did to get the C supply was the part I'm most proud about. I was able to go into the negative or return side of the high voltage power supply and break it and put a zener in it. And that allowed me to tap it for whatever voltage the zener was. So I could put a 4.5 volt zener in it, or I could put a 9 volt or a 22 volt zener, and it would give me just a few MA, a few milliamps of power that I needed for the C without disrupting the high voltage power supply. So we stole it, and that was the ingenious part. Was we had a simple power supply, and we cheated. Got the third one out of it. Anyway, we said I've got them working out there. I got 3 of them working without the C supply and 2 of them with the C supply. I've had no complaints so far. And I before COVID, I checked in with them, and all of them said, "Oh yeah, we play the radio all the time," or "Yeah, we play it once in a while," and it still works fine. So I'm assuming that it'll hold up. It's certainly not an RB, but it's not designed for that. The intent was, if you had 4 battery radios, wouldn't it be nice to have a battery eliminator in each one instead of having to move them all around?
Right.
So that was the original intent. Is that I kind of wanted all 4 of my battery sets to run. But yeah, we're in good shape. It's just a matter, like Franklin said, we just need to turn it back on again.
One thing I noticed with my RB when I run the old 20 battery sets like TRFs is I really don't need a ground connection. And I think I heard somebody mention that somehow the ground, I don't know, maybe you would know. I mean, I'm running like a, well, it depends.
The ground on those radios, the ground on most of the 20s radios is common to something, either A- or C plus. And the RB power supply, as I recall, has a 3-prong grounded plug on it. It could very well get its ground through the RB into the MGN.
I think that's what the case is then. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I recall that from some of my sets that I didn't need a ground on it.
Yeah. Right now I got my Greeby Synchrophase in my bedroom by the window with the RB, and I got a 15-foot wire antenna over the window, and I'm picking up everything. I mean, I'm saying everything, but I'm probably picking up 20 to 25 stations. Just with that.
Oh, that's wonderful. What kind of antenna have you got?
It's just a wire, 14 gauge stranded insulated wire.
Okay.
That's just draped up over the top of the window.
60 feet in the air, strung between you and 3 neighbors down.
Yeah, 15 feet in the room, and then I got 100 foot out in the backyard.
That's nice.
But sometimes, you overload those sets sometimes when you have a really long, a large antenna. I don't think you need a crystal radio or something like that. Yeah, you need a long antenna, but those battery sets, I think they recommend, what was it, 30 feet? I think in the Greeby book it mentioned 30 foot. I got half.
Yeah, I know in the Atwater Kent books they recommend 65, but a lot of the radios had connections for both long and short antennas.
Right. Yeah, my Greeby's got a little switch you can flip over for a loop antenna.
Yeah, you might get a kick out of what we're working on this evening, since we're talking about battery sets.
I have no idea what you got there, but that
is a 2-tube audio amplifier.
Oh, okay.
You got the other one? We'll show you the radio that mates with it.
Is that Federal?
We don't really know what it is. It's a no name, but this is the battery set or that goes with it. It's a single tuner with the
cool.
Yep.
Transformer on the front. Not, there's not much in the back here. But anyhow,
so is that homebrew? Is that a homebrew set then?
Yeah, we believe it is. Tom bought it from I think George Kirkwood. Is an unfinished project. I am absolutely dumbfounded in how the two-tube amplifier was wired. So right now we've got a schematic for what we believe it is, and we're rewiring it to match that. One of the connections I saw in here goes through a switch from the B plus to the grid of the first tube. Somehow or other, that doesn't set very well in my book. Grids are supposed to have B+ on them. So anyway, we ripped all the wiring out. We're putting it back together our way now.
So really all that is what, 2 interstage transformers and 2 tubes? And then a
Yeah,
couple
and
loop gaps.
2 potentiometers to control the filament. That's literally all there is. There's this particular one has 3 jacks in it. That one's got a connector in it, but you've got one labeled detector, one labeled first, and one labeled second. The detector is for the tuner to plug into. And then you've got 1 stage or 2 stages. And then also you'll notice it's got 4 connectors on each side. The bottom one on one side is missing right now, but that's all pass through voltages. So the A and B voltages pass through it. We have this one, we'll go ahead and modify it, and Tom's got a 3-cell battery holder here that we'll use to provide bias on the tubes. But we'll try it without it first.
I'm sure somewhere in some of those old radio magazines of the 20s, there's your schematics in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
This is an interesting book. One of my kids, I won't say who, decided one day that my hobby was taking up too much of my time. This book is now in pieces, page by page.
I think I have that.
You know, I've looked for it forever, but Tom was gracious enough to tell me he found it on Amazon, so I'll be buying a new one. But yeah, this is one of the it's not Ramsey, Lindsay. It's a Lindsay publication, so it's a reprint of an old book. I have that one, and then I have another publication that's called 222 Radio Circuit Diagrams, and they're fun to play with.
So is that peephole for viewing the tubes to see if the filaments are lit? Is that what that's for? The round hole in?
Yeah, that's exactly. I've got a 1922 what is it? It's Trago. I've got a 1922 Trago that has 3 of those little lenses in them because it's a 3-tube set. And that's my quiet collection. Nobody knows I've got it, but I'm a real big fan of Tresco radios, or Tri-City Electric Company. I've got all of the 1922 and 1923 offerings, but Tresco farmed out radios to Tregola and to Trago. Now, were made by a gal named Nellie Trago, whose husband died, left her with a couple of kids and a little bit of money, but pretty much destitute other than that. So she started a radio company and did very, very well for herself for 4 or 5 years while the company was in existence. But I like those too, because and airline radios were made by Tri-City.
Oh, really?
Some of the early ones. Yep. And so I've got some of those.
Yeah, agreement between them and Briggs Stratton made some of the parts.
Oh, did they? Okay. Tom's telling me that Ward's had an agreement with Basco.
Trago.
Oh, Trago. Okay. Yeah. But they were a big distributor. Tri-City was a big store. You could get anything.
But that was like very early, right? That was early, right? You're talking
about. Yeah, we're talking 20, 22, 23, 24.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Did they make a lot of radios? I mean, was there a lot out there?
That's quite a few. They in 1920, can't remember if it was 20, I think it was 23 or 24. They made 6 radios. They made a 1-tube, and a 2-tube, and a 3-tube. And the 1-tube was a W1 and a W2, depending on whether you had an OA wet cell or a dry cell 199 radio. 3 and 4 were the 2-tube radio, and the 4, 5, and 6 were the 3-tube. Got all 6 of those. They're not pretty. My wife calls them the ugly radios on top of the lawyer's bookcase, and they're neatly compacted in the corner of the living room where nobody can see them. but they're fun radios. The Trago's kind of cool. I'll one night I'll get that down. It's no more than about 4 feet from me, but it's too high on the shelf to reach. But I bought that at an auction near Salem. I think at the Railroad Museum, they had a big auction, probably 10 years ago. And I was had deeper pockets that day than about 5 other people, and probably didn't make any of the others very happy, but I drug it home. It was the only radio I wanted. There was some nice radios there too, but I saved my money until the end, and the darn Trago was like I don't know, they had probably 100 radios, and it was probably the 89th one. It's almost the end of the auction. So that's all I drug home that day.
But you had to pay up for it, huh?
Yeah. I think I paid close to $300 for it.
Wow.
With no tubes, and of course no batteries. So we ate beans for 3 weeks over that radio.
Uh-huh.
And if my wife had found out about it, I probably would have slept on the couch for 3 weeks too. No, she's good about that. I have never taken a penny out of her budget for radios. It's all come from the bench.
And it's a 100-year-old radio, So
yeah, it is now. It is now. I'm getting to the point where I have a few 100-year-old radios. I have that, and I have an old cylinder player, 2-minute player that's over 100 years old. It's older than many of my friends.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, gentlemen, I am going to check out because I've still got a little more wiring to do tonight, and Tom is over here visiting, and I'm ignoring him. So everybody say good night to Tom.
Good night, Tom.
All right. All right.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Bye.
All right, I'm checking out for the Olympics, I think.
All righty. See you later.
All right, take care.
Bye. Thanks for coming.